Look, man, I got my passport. I got my daughter. It's time to go. All right? Anyone who's looking to move to a nice, peaceful country, you're more than welcome to join us in Ghana. Okay? It's very nice, peaceful over there.
Hey my people, how are y'all doing? Yes, here in Kampala, Uganda, yes, East Africa, I am doing fantastically okay. By the way, thank you so very much to all of you that engage with the content, comment, like, share, subscribe, my members, and the generous souls that give me super thanks. Thank you so very, very much for your support. Today we have a very interesting episode. There's a growing trend of Americans now that are leaving America and they are getting their very first passport for their very first time. I don't know if it has to do with the current political atmosphere in the US right now or it is something else, but this is something that I noticed and I've been coming across a lot of videos of people saying, get your passport and leave. We have to look at some of these clips. They are going to be not very long. We'll come back and talk about it.
Look, man, I got my passport. I got my daughter. It's time to go. All right? Anyone who's looking to move to a nice, peaceful country, you're more than welcome to join us in Ghana. Okay? It's very nice, peaceful over there. And even if you're low income here, you could be very rich over there if with the currency exchange. So start saving your money. Once I make that phone call for us to go, it's time to go. So don't play no games. But seriously though, God bless us all because this is very scary. Everything happening, and I just want to live out my 20s. Like, why do we always have to be living through some sort of crisis? It's crazy, but God be with us all.
We are very, very seriously starting to consider leaving the United States, and I just want to hear from someone who's done it. Where did you go? How did you decide that's where you're going? How did you get a visa? Do all of that? I'm definitely like researching on my own, but like if there was someone I could connect with who's done this before, like I just would love to utilize you as a resource. And yeah, if we can help one another, please.
Americans are leaving America, and it is not for vacation. It's for survival. A growing wave of Americans are packing up, terrified by Trump's dictatorship, Republican fascism, and Democrats' capitulation. Interracial couples, LGBT plus individuals, people of color, and intelligent people in general are seeing their rights replaced with restrictions. In Ireland, U.S. passport applications hit their highest level in a decade, up 60% in just 2 months. France is seeing long-term stay visas for Americans up 20%. Portugal, Spain, UK, relocation companies can barely keep up with demand. Traffic to Blacksit Global, which helps Black Americans relocate, surged 50% after the election. Some are leaving quietly, like a trans couple in Colorado, because Trump wrongly says there are only two genders. States are moving to ban gender care, so they're planning their exit. Google searches for how to leave the U.S. spiked after the election, and real estate deals for Americans in Spain surged before the Golden Visa program was shut down. European culture is different than American culture, and many won't adjust. And of course, Europe has its issues: immigrations, taxes. Putin expected to take Moldova and then Romania with his eyes on the rest of Europe for the new Russian Empire. But a possibility of another European war is a safer bet than staying in a country that is already a fascist dictatorship.
I know exactly who needs to hear this. Migration is a natural reaction for human beings who are looking to better their lives. For Black Americans specifically, you have been building and rebuilding for the past 500 years. At some point, it's okay to recognize that you don't have to rebuild something that you didn't break. Migration is not abandonment. It is mobility. It is access. It is improving the quality of life. James Baldwin, Audre Lorde, Maya Angelou all left the United States and still were pivotal parts of the civil rights movement and other critical movements at home and abroad. You are not a tree. You can move.
A growing number of Americans that say that they're ready to move to another country. There's a new Talker research poll that says out of a survey of 2,000 Americans, they found 17% of those surveyed want to go. Ireland comes in at number 5 among the top countries Americans want to relocate to. 10% say they'd live in Australia, putting it at number 4 on the list. England is 3rd, with culture and way of life being the big draw. Food has Americans looking at Italy, which comes in at number 2. And you ready for the top foreign country Americans want to live in?
I would have thought it was Italy. It was number 1.
It is Canada.
Wow. Now, as someone who has lived abroad for years, we can effectively establish that the Americans that were polled won us. Ireland Maybe top 20, not top 5. And did he say people wanted to move to England for culture?
England is third, with culture and way of life being the big.
England has more stolen culture than the United States. They are the OG colonizer, and the British pound is always higher than the US dollar. So when you convert your money over, you're losing. Australia being number 4 is a choice, because we not going nowhere that's a real life Jurassic Park. And Canada being number 1, if y'all flip borders for me, then I'm with you. So since it's evident we were not in the room, let me give you the Black American top 5. Starting at number 5, I'll see there Australia, and I'll raise you the United Arab Emirates. That's Dubai, Sharjah, Abu Dhabi. That's where we go. Y'all said food and gave us Italy. Number 4, we're gonna give you Jamaica. What? Top 3, and this is a strong 3. Because that polls top 5, everywhere is cold. We're not doing that. Number 3, we're giving you Thailand. And number 2, if we're going culture, we're not going to the colonizer. We going to Ghana. And y'all already know at numero uno, we gonna swerve around that border, whoa, and go to Mexico.
Americans leaving America to live the American dream. Are we Americans living the American dream? I see that a lot of people are leaving and going to different countries because they feel like the struggle is so bad in America. They indeed feel that we do have a lot of opportunities for education and stuff, but once we make a certain amount of money, it's like you're still only working to pay bills. Like everything is so expensive, from the cable to the internet, the cars, where you live. And they feel like you can go to Thailand, Belize, all those different places and live a simple life. So what's going on in America? Like, how are things so inexpensive in other countries? The rent is so high here, when they like the rent in those different countries are little as nothing. So y'all tell me, what's going on? How can things be so much different in price? Are we Americans living the American dream? And if not, why not? Like, what we need to do? Y'all leave in the comments and let me.
Just came back from the DMV, and of course one of my forms of ID was my passport. The clerk who handled my thing was so impressed and a little surprised. But then she said quietly, "I'm so glad you have your passport. Sean, you know what's up." Now, I'm certainly not claiming credit. I'm just so happy for you. I really, really am. And I applaud you. This is your first passport, one of many. You have secured your status as an American citizen. Celebrate that. Bye, Sean.
So I don't know what to do. I really badly want to leave the United States. I would be gone tomorrow if I could make it happen. And my husband doesn't. He thinks that someone's going to save us. He thinks Congress or checks and balances or Democrats or someone is not going to let the worst happen. And I don't know how many other ways to try and convince him. I don't think that's going to happen. I want better for us. I want better for our kids. I want them to have a worldly, cultured childhood, and I want them to grow up in a better place than this. This is not a good life. And he's an engineer, I'm a nurse. We don't make a ton, we're fine, but not here. This sucks. How do I get him on board with moving away from the United States?
One of the things I wanted to get on here and talk about while I'm sitting and relaxing, and honestly, I have said, maybe to a friend or two, that I feel like there's a healing that takes place when you come outside of the United States. And I think the healing kicks in somewhere around after you've been out for about 2 weeks to 30 days. There's a healing that starts to take place. And part of that healing, or why I'm being healed, is one of the big reasons that I left the United States. And I didn't really verbalize it. Because it would have just brought me more harm. So the thing was, I knew that I needed to get out as soon as possible. And what that is that I know that I am worthy. I know that I'm worthy. I know that I'm equal to others. I don't think anybody's better than me. I feel like I've been educated enough to be enlightened that we all are worthy. We all are equally worthy. And we all have the ability to do anything that we want in this life and have anything that we want in this life because we're children of God and because we've been given that ability. And what was happening in the United States is that the message was being placed out into the atmosphere and out into the ethers by Western media, is that really particularly BLK women were not worthy, either everything being handed to them through some type of DEI, or not worthy because of the way they looked, or not worthy from being echoed by the men in the community. And I know for a fact that I am. So it was causing conflict, and not only conflict internally, outwardly, because when I'm out and integrating and intermingling with other people, other races, other women of other races, I cannot dim the fact that I know what and who I am, and that I am just as equal to anybody that I'm standing in front of. There is nobody that I feel as though has any more hierarchy on this earth other than the Lord Jesus above, the Lord God above, to me. And that became a problem. That was becoming a problem more and more each day as I, was finding myself navigating my day-to-day life in the United States. Because when you show up as equal and knowing that you're equal, and the world has told other people that you're not, when you show up to them as that and you're not apologetic for doing that, it creates conflict. It creates conflict with those people. And I was experiencing that. I'm in graduate school, and I think that some people had this misnomer or this stereotype about what a BLK woman was. We're fat. We're ugly. We're uneducated. We're always trying to get over. We're angry. And I think that when you finally get to know people and you don't just use the talking points that's given to you by the media to create your thought on someone, that when somebody shows up and it bursts that bubble, some people take that they don't take that with a grain of salt. They take that as an insult, because at some point that made them feel better about themselves. So the images that you see about a BLK woman, that they're not worthy, that they're lazy, that they're overweight, that they're angry, that they're unworthy, they're not beautiful, and something shows up that bursts that bubble of thought. And depending on what you use that thought for is what you would project onto the person that shows up and bursts that bubble. And I know that's hard to follow, but I want you to try to follow me in feeling versus just follow me on what I'm saying. Some people use that to feel better about themselves. Some people use the imagery and the bigotry projected towards certain races, certain genders, to feel better about themselves. And when you show up and you're a opposition to what has allowed them to feel better about themselves, then you become an issue. And that was happening on a mass scale in my eyes in the United States. And to me, it's getting worse. It's getting worse. And what I feel like I'm able to do as someone who's freely travels and chooses what country I want to participate in, I give myself permission to still be the person I know I am, who is equal to whoever's standing in front of me, who feels as though I am very valuable, who feels as though that I have a lot to contribute. And when you feel that way about yourself and you love yourself that much, and you're in front of people that don't, they will project onto you their disgruntledness with themselves. So I had to find somewhere else to go that will allow me to be myself, because guess what? It was not an option for me to pretend that I wasn't equal. It's not an option. It is not an option for me to show up to you and make you feel like you're better than me because the society says that you're supposed to be better than me. That is not an option. I'm sorry. It wasn't. The option for me was to just leave peacefully. And there's some people that's going to know exactly what I'm talking about. I just want to hear y'all thoughts in the comments. I'll talk to y'all soon.
Did you know that millions of Americans have already left the USA to go live in other countries? I'm one of them with my wife, and I suspect that millions more will be moving abroad over the next few years. Let's talk about that. Now, I posted a video about this subject on one of my other accounts, and a guy said, "I'm not moving because I'm winning." And I got to thinking about it. I'm like, what could he be talking about? I was like, oh, I guess, he's making enough money. He feels like things are going good in his life. But it brings me to something that I want to say regarding what that guy said. No matter how you're doing economically, you might still want to move to another country. You see, my wife and I, we didn't move to another country because we weren't doing good economically. I mean, yes, just like anybody else, we had our ups and our downs over there and know what it's like to go through a period of time where you have to try to really budget just to make it by. But even if I was making $200,000 a year, $1 million a year, $1 billion a year in the United States of America, there's 0% chance that in my mind, I would say, I want to live my entire life in one country. I knew from the moment when I was a child, when I was like 5 years old, when I started hearing that other countries exist, they have other languages, other customs, other foods, other things that don't even exist in the United States of America. I knew I was moving to another country. So, anyways, if you're looking to move to another country, we are posting remote jobs and cheap rent in other countries on our website. It's called timetogo.international.
Y'all, we've been lied to. I have seen so many people recently that have been reporting content from overseas on their cost of living, and they're living in these really beautiful, fully furnished apartments with maid service, and they have swimming pools, and they have all of these things for just a couple $100 or $500 a month. They didn't have to do a credit check. All they had to do was show their proof of income. And they're going grocery shopping and actually coming out with bags of groceries for just like $10, $15, $20. They're getting seeded fruit and fresh vegetables. And I don't know, y'all. Like, I'm ready to leave. I'm ready to go. And a lot of people said they feel much more safer over there. You know, they're able to get services. I used to worry about, like, what if I want to get braids or whatever? People are actually opening up like ethnic shops and stuff like that. And people are getting their hair braided for like $40 or $50, where over here it's like $200, $300, $1,000. Is anyone else sick of the tip culture as well? Like, why can't I go get a scoop of ice cream and not have to give a tip? Or if I ordered a to-go order and I'm actually coming in and picking it up and all you did was put the food in a bag and give it to me, why do I have to give you a tip? Like, I'm so sick of it. I'm sorry, I just had to get that off my chest. I feel better now. Does anyone else feel like me? Or am I alone? Help.
I did a little bit of digging into this and I asked Google, has the number of Americans getting passports in 2025 increased? And this is what Google said. They said, yes, there's evidence suggesting an increase in Americans obtaining US passports in 2025, particularly for second passports. This increase is linked to growing concerns about the future of the United States and a desire for a plan B. And this also includes US citizens that are seeking to get second citizenship outside of the US. So this is what Al Jazeera said. A significant rise in US clients seeking second citizenship or residency through investment schemes, with some firms reporting a 400% increase in the first quarter of 2025 compared to the same period in 2024. Another article from multicitizenship.com says applications for second citizenship have risen by 1,000% since 2020, right after COVID pandemic. And from what it looks like, the demand is not just for the wealthy that are seeking to start businesses in other countries, but rather even those people that are politically concerned and they are seeking second passports, as potential exit routes. The dance that you're looking at on the screen is a courting dance from one of the tribes in Uganda, specifically Kalamoja or the Kalamajongs. This is what they do. Like, they have performances of courting dances, how to impress a woman or something like that.
Like you are seeing in the statistics, there's a skyrocketing of Americans wanting to actually exit the United States of America, going to countries like Canada, going to countries like UK. Others are choosing Europe and many more other countries, and others are choosing Asia as well, because we do have a lot of people that have, moved to Asia, the different countries in Asia, and they are living there very, very nicely. And that is not the only place. A lot of other brothers and sisters are choosing to come on the continent. Now, this is not just even about Black Americans or Black Caribbeans or melanated people alone. This is literally a move everyone is taking. And from the so many people that I speak to from the other side of the world where you guys reside, a lot of them, especially those that have been on the continent, I hear them telling me, can you imagine, I inspired one of my friends to get a passport. Right now they are talking about, I have paid my passport and I really want to travel. How much is it gonna cost me to go to Uganda as well and visit? Yeah, so there is a way this political atmosphere has opened people's eyes to see the real America. I'm not here to speak so ill about America because America has great stuff. Everyone is trying to be in the United States of America, okay? Because specifically of the money and the opportunities. People don't want anything else to do with America. I am going to be blatant over here. And you'll know, especially those of you that are there, if you had the same opportunities in America and you got them here in Uganda, you'd rather stay here in Uganda, which is the same reason as to why you see a lot of Africans, a lot of Hispanics, a lot of Asians, they want to come because opportunities are there, right? And I think this goes to show you that indeed there's something huge that is coming for America. Do not just look at these moves and think, oh, it's people are just moving because of bandwagon, because of how bad this administration is, because of how it treats its citizens and all of that. I feel like, I don't know if you've ever seen birds that literally wake up in the night and they fly off and you hear them making noise. Those birds is not because they wanted to leave. There's something that made them so uncomfortable. They were like very conscious and they're like, there's something wrong. And sometimes when something bad is about to happen, animals will know first and they will wake you and alert you. That's how I feel about the United States of America, that there's something that is huge and all of these are just trailers. So we are just like in the phase of trailer. Like this is like a trailer that is being released. That's why you're seeing a lot of these videos, people saying, you want to leave? Yeah. Get your passport. These are trailers. And it is the number of people that are awake. And one of the things that is very beautiful is each person that wakes up, they wake others. How beautiful. How beautiful, right? Now, I'm not here trying to chew the horn of Africa. And I'm not speaking about Ethiopia or that whole side, right? I'm speaking about, the continent as a whole. I'm not saying things are very perfect, but the fact that quite a number of people, even those that are not choosing Africa, they're having it better. The other side of the world, not that those sides of the world do not have their own challenges, but it feels good to go to a country where you would just be human and you realize that the government is not trying to exploit you. You guys are going to have to forgive me. There's more that came to mind while I was editing, so I decided to just come raw and unfiltered, not so much light, just a little bit, right? But the democracy is under a threat, and a lot of Americans feel like this is not what they've worked hard for. This is not what a lot of them fought for. For example, the vets and all of that, the people that have fought for this country, and a lot of other people that have worked so hard and have built this country. They feel like, what, we have built it. We are not the ones that are tearing it apart, and it's not going to be our responsibility to put it together. We're not going to keep watching the people that are supposed to be good leaders tear apart our countries, and they are going to leave us to build it instead of them actually putting bricks together and building this. We've already worked ourselves so much, and I think that's it. And a lot of other Americans have started realizing that there's way more beyond America. America used to portray itself as, the best country in the world. And this was very strategic to keep a lot of people trapped in this country. And how would they trap you if they don't show you that you are the best country in the world, right? So they had to literally keep a lot of blindfolds on the faces or on the eyes of people. But now that this political atmosphere and the way Trump is literally treating both the US citizens and those that are non-citizens, and not just that, but even the former allies of the US,
a lot of people's eyes are getting opened and they don't feel like this is a place they would proudly call home. So they would rather go to other places where you can actually have access to a better standard of living without literally unaliving yourself, because in the US you literally have to work until when you're like 70, 80, except if you have a corporate job and you're earning a lot, and you have all this life insurance and all of these things that are going to be coming in and that are going to be helping you to retire very soon. If not, you're going to be in the other number of the majority of all Americans that work each and every now, that work every day just to make sure that they can sustain themselves. Houses are very expensive. A lot of people are going homeless. So on top of the, the cost of living that literally keeps inflating every now and then, and these people literally, the leaders don't even care at all. People are choosing other places that have better, but at least you don't have to reach that point of breaking your back to make sure you can live a decent life, to make sure you can eat something decent and healthy too, right? To make sure you can be able to afford health care without literally breaking your bank, right? So a lot of people are seeing all of these things. The way Trump treats people, the way the democracy is crumbling, the way he's literally taking away the rights, all the things that used to be known of America, everything that America stood for, right? It's going down. And some people are like, you know what, this is not the place anymore, because we can actually find a better value for our money in other places. And they're like, you know what, if it's like that, families are moving their children. They're like, first of all, America is not even good to raise kids anymore. A lot of people are afraid of having kids in the United States of America. It's not just because, molarity, but the cost of living and raising kids, right? And then when it comes to the molarity part, yeah, a lot of people are like, ain't no way I'm gonna raise kids here. That's why a lot of people, when they go to other countries, they change their mind about kids. They change their mind about family, because most of these countries they go to, they offer all these values. You are going to be surrounded by a community. America is not a community. All it does is just suck out of you, suck out of you, suck out of you, and yet it keeps you trapped. America is very good, trust me. I'm not trying to say that America is a bad country. No, America is a very good country, but to make money, that's the only value you can get. But the thing is, you break your back, that even if by the time you want to retire, you cannot even enjoy your retirement because you're suffering from all these illnesses that you acquired, when you are working. You literally work your back off. By the time you retire, your back cannot function. The only thing you can do is just be taken to a nursing home. Think about that. And people don't like that. People have realized that other citizens of the world are treated better. Like, you're literally not abandoned, right? You're not abandoned. Family is always there to take care of you, right? But in America, get old, you're retired, of course, you're just thrown out there because everyone is trying to make a dollar. Also, in the case of racial tensions and discrimination policies in the United States of America, people are realizing that people of the so-called considered minorities are treated way better in other countries. Now, I'm not going to say that other countries don't have racial issues and discrimination and all of that. Like, systematic racism is still in there, especially when you go to systems that are built by majorly white people, right? But for Black people, to be specific, and people of color, whenever they go to a country that is majorly Black, the welcome and the feeling of just you being a human being without literally being looked at as, a Black man or a Black woman. Literally, you don't get any treatment that is targeting you, that is targeting to take advantage of you, right? So a lot of people are also noticing and citing that out whenever they visit other countries. They're like, I felt like I am human, and they reflect on their experience as a black man or a Black woman in the US, and as a Black man or a Black woman in Africa or in any country, and they see how different everything is, how nice people are. people in the US, for some reason, I've had quite, okay, don't quote me on this, okay, but I've had quite a number of people say that people seem stuck up. People tend to find a problem with the fact that you are nice because they are not used to that. The kind of life the people in the United States live is a lonely life. And when people step out of the US boundaries and they realize it is not as lonely as it was for me in the US, here you can literally easily start and crack conversations, right? With random people being nice to you. They are not used to that. And whenever they find it anywhere, they're like, you know, where I am living, there's no need for me to invest my breath in this country, knowing that I will never ever be seen as an American. Theoretically, they will consider me an American, but when it comes to the treatment, it is totally different. And the loneliness pandemic as well, that is getting worse, and people literally like can pass and nobody even gets to notice, right? Yet in other countries, they realize people are nice, people are welcoming, people care, people literally don't stick their nose in your business simply because they want to find something about you to put you down or just to really evaluate who you are, but genuinely people loving you. So people are noticing that the racial tension is not that bad in some other countries, but I said, don't get me wrong, they are there, right? But it's not as worse as it is in the US. And now, in terms of Africa, you are not going to find any case of you being discriminated against because you are black or you are white or what. There's no such thing as that. People treat you the way you treat them. A lot of people have woken up to realize that America is a business. America is like a cartel, right? You know, it's like a cartel that runs this world huge corporation, and it really don't put so much back. A lot of people have grown to realize, oh, there's no mass shooting in the other side of the world. That's not something I have to worry about if I have to send my kids to school. When I send my kids to school, they are not going to be bullied simply because of their skin color. I'm speaking for the case of Africa, because your kids are not going to be bullied. I promise you on that. Okay? Yeah, and in the cases of Europe and other countries, of course, those things you might expect to them because still those lands are dominated by palm-colored people, right? But the fact that a lot of people are waking up to process their passports should be another wake-up call for you who has been asking for a sign, right, from God. What can I do? Where can I go, right? I think the first step is to get your passport just in case you don't have it. So there's just so many countries you can choose from. If you are melanated like me, I would say Africa is the only place you are going to feel like a human being. You will walk the street and just know you are a human being. Before you open your mouth for people to know that you are American, people will just see you as a human being, not a black man, not a black woman. And that feels so good. I got that from one of the interviews that I conducted with a family that just visited and left Uganda. They told me when they came to the continent, that was the very first place where they felt like they are just humans. And they saw themselves in everybody. And also you get to see a lot of achievements by black people. You get to see a lot of stuff that are owned by black people. Now, I'm not trying to throw anything here that you guys don't own stuff. You guys are the richest people in the whole world, and you have access to the riches of Babylon. Imagine if God himself in the book of Isaiah chapter 45 and verses 3, he says that I will give you the treasures of darkness and hidden riches of secret places, that you may know that I, the Lord who calls you by your name, I am the God of Israel. Imagine, because we're speaking of opportunities and wealth that is in that country, imagine what you can be able to do with the wealth that is hidden in Babylon and what you can be able to achieve. Yeah. And some of these things are cultivated by evil people, but even the riches of the evil one, the wealth of the evil one is given up to you to actually take.
right? And it is in your hands, much as you have to work for it sometimes. But imagine what you can be able to achieve when when all this exposure is done and you're like, your eyes are awake and all the scales are off, right? You'll be like, okay, this is time for me to actually take advantage of all the wealth that is here and go build an empire and be who I am called to be, a child of God that lives among humans with compassion, love, be able to experience nature and just thrive. And this message right here that I'm putting out here is to encourage you to get your passport if you have not got it. Research, that is the most important thing where you want to go. You may choose not to come to Africa. I don't have any problem with you as long as you choose to go to a place where you're going to be safe. Okay, safety is not a guarantee sometimes, but then there are places that are less riskier, right? Especially with this growing discomfort and this man, the madness that he's causing, the chaos and the havoc he's, wreaking, like yeah. To be honest, I feel like it would be a flex for you as an American to have a passport, because just in case one day you choose to be like, you know what, I'm leaving, it will be so easy. Yeah. But anywho, I think those are my thoughts. Get your passport. It is very cheap. It's like something like $100, $200. Expedite, I think it's like I don't know, 300, 400, and as simple as that. Save a little by little. And for the people that can't travel, how I wish you could travel. Hopefully you have someone that cares to be there for you, right? I don't think America will go like empty regardless of the atmosphere, but definitely there's probably something that is more spiritual that is, in preparation to come. Let me know what you think in the comment section. I think from me for today, that's it. I love all of you, and I'll see you in another amazing video. Until then, my name is Gracie, and bye.